Hey, what is good with y'all? It's your boy, King Avery, and today we're gonna be talking a little bit about the Nintendo NX controller and console. I know a lot of y'all been wanting to know more about it, and I have a little bit of a small little delivery for y'all that I'm going to bring to y'all because a few people on the interwebs have actually been pointing out some very valid points, and there may be a lot of truth behind it. So let's start with the console. It's coming in with 8GB DDR RAM as well as a 64-bit ARM processor. Now, I don't know about y'all, but those are some pretty decent specs. They are going to be able to be right on one-on-one with the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, if not actually a little bit higher than them. So that is good there. It's not a huge difference, but then again, there's not too much of a difference, that we can really go as far as, consoles without it actually being PC specs. Now, outside of that, let's go ahead and let's talk a little bit about the controller. It has accelerometers and a gyroscope, as well as you have your NFC for the amiibo support. So, everything that was pretty much built into the Wii U controller, you're gonna have there in this controller, as well as it has a capacitive touchscreen on it that takes up the whole entire controller. Now, let me repeat that. That takes up the whole controller. Not a piece of the controller, the whole controller. Outside of your physical buttons on there, it takes up the whole controller. And let's go ahead and let's talk about this controller a little bit more. Now, it has a micro SD card slot on it. That way you can actually do game saves or, save maybe a game or something similar to that on the controller. Let's not get this twisted. It is not a replacement for your 3DS, at least not that we know of. I don't think it actually has the specs for it. It's more like on the level of a smartphone. Like if you're going to go out and buy a smartphone, this is pretty much the equivalent of it. That way it keeps some of the console's information on the controller that you can take with you wherever you go. So let's say, for example, like those Miitomos, right? You have those little characters on there. Well, they may be a character from something that's actually on the console. Or let's say if you are playing Super Smash Bros. And you have beaten a certain level, or you've gotten ranked up to a certain spot on there, or you have a game save, you can bring that over to one of your friends' house and actually carry that information with you, as well as have some function to it, whereas you can kind of play it on the go, but you're not actually playing the full retail version of the game. It's like a dumbed down version, for example. Kind of like if you were to think of the Wii U Super Smash Bros. And then you had the 3DS version, except it's not quite to that level. It's a little bit dumbed down. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the screen. It is 1080p, and that's decent. It's not 2K or anything like that, but it's a good screen. It's nice and clear. Y'all are gonna be able to use it. It's not gonna be something you're gonna put up to your face, as a VR headset or anything like that. And it's rocking a proprietary operating system, which is very similar to Android, which is why you hear a little bit about that. Now, outside of that, I did tell y'all about a person who actually has a controller concept that he has created that is pretty much spot on. So the controller, as you can see in this video that he put together, the buttons are actually see-through. So for example, your A and your B button would be see-through, and they could change to different images. So for example, your buttons can have icons underneath them. I know a lot of y'all know about the keyboards that are out there for gaming purposes, where you can change the actual backlight icons on there, so you can have, let's say, Firefox on the background, or Opera, or whatever. You know, you can put a game there that shows up underneath it, whatever. So the buttons actually have, they're pretty much clear, transparent buttons that illuminate a light into them from the actual touchscreen, because remember, the whole controller is a touchscreen, and it's gonna light it up and allows you to put icons there. So this is good for those of users that are actually new to gaming, that may need to know, okay, a button is a fishing rod, so it might have like a picture of a fishing rod there, right? So outside of that, you also have, you have your analog sticks. Those are still there. You still have 2 analog sticks. And then you have your 4 physical buttons down there, as well as a home button. And of course, you have your traditional, D-pad down there in the bottom left. Now, outside of that, you do have a Z, L, and a Z R trigger up at the top, as well as you have the scroll wheels, which are very similar to, a mouse, right? And you can click on them as well as scroll them left and right. So that pretty much is what the controller consists of. It's mainly used, it's not really used to play the game on it, but it's used mainly to better the controls of the actual system, so that the controls are a lot better and a lot tighter, so you can actually look at it. Also, on top of that, because it is a touchscreen, it does allow for you to put other buttons that aren't physically there on the controller. So you can have a button above your physical A and B, or to the left or to the right of it. Well, really not to the right, because you have your analog stick there. But that's pretty much how the controller is. This is pretty much exactly what it's gonna look like. It's not quite exact, but it's very similar shape. It's not a big controller like the Wii U gamepad. It's much smaller. A matter of fact, I believe a while back, if you watch the Mario Kart video where they show the family playing a game, you see this guy with a smaller controller that's a former version of the Wii U controller. It's very similar to that, except, not similar to that, but it's smaller. Like how that controller's smaller, this one's smaller. It's like almost like, for example, like a PlayStation Vita. A lot of people don't want to compare it to it, but it's pretty much similar to it, except the whole thing is touchscreen. Now, outside of that, I really don't know much more about it, but that's everything I have for y'all, except, I forgot one thing. It does have a headphone jack in it, so when you take it on the go with you, you may even be able to store some music in there and listen to it on the go. But anyways, that's all I have for y'all today. Be sure to subscribe to this channel, and also don't forget to like the video and share it with your friends. It's been your boy King Avery, and I'm signing out. Peace.